Welcome back, gamers. Today we're going to be checking out the awesome Star Wars skirmisher game, Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures, by Fantasy Flight Games. This is the base set, which is perfect for two players to jump right in and play some amazing Star Wars miniatures battles, with X-Wings and TIE Fighters and all sorts of missions and scenarios. If you already know how to play the game, go ahead and click on it, jump right to my conclusions. Otherwise, let's find out what's in the box and how we play the game.
It's board games with PeedMont.
Inside of Star Wars X-Wing, you will find one quick start rules guide, which basically shows you everything you need to know to jump right in and start playing. Really nice for those first couple games. And then a full color, gigantic rule book full of everything you need to know, all the, keywords and scenarios, situations, everything you might run into. As you can see, the game is pretty deep, has a lot of information in here, so you're going to want to check this out and really be familiar with it before you jump in. And then, a bunch of stuff. We'll look at all those individually. But before that, onto the cool stuff. You get this little case with some attack and defense, specialized 8-sided dice. We got hits, dodges, focus, eyeballs, and blanks. Pretty cool. And then these amazingly painted miniatures. This is the X-Wing. Now, of course, I kind of like painting miniatures, but these are done much better than I could have done and really look like the dirty kind of X-Wing that you'd find. Very cool, just like the movies. And then these nasty TIE Fighters, which again are very nicely painted. I think they're amazing and would probably be much better than I would have done if I tried to paint them on my own. The game comes with all sorts of components to play the game. First thing we'll look at are these movement dials. This is the one for the X-Wing, and as you see on your turn, you're going to pick a movement that your ship's going to do. In this case, is a 3 straight. And then, of course, there are a bunch of these templates that also come with the game that re-implement or reflect these movements that you pick on your movement dial. So I'll just quickly show you this. This is one of the bases for the ships. Maybe I picked that 3 movement. I placed that 3 movement template in between the little nubs on the base here. Hold it down, move my ship to the next spot. And we'll look at that in a little bit later. But there are a whole ton of these movement templates. We have straight ones, we have light curves, we have 90-degree turns, we have really long movements, and even further long movements. And these are all the ones that basically you can do with the X-Wing or TIE Fighter. There are some specialized ones in some of the expansions, but this will get you up and running really well. Then, like I said, here they come with the bases and these little things that the ships go on. And with these come these kind of, we call them nameplates maybe. So this is Night Beast TIE Fighter. You can see his shooting arc is on the front here, his special abilities. I guess that's a dodge, barrel roll, and focus. His kind of pilot skill, his attack dice, defense dice, his structural hit points, like this is life basically, and then his shields. And you basically put that right on there, facing the forward arrow. Your ship will sit right on there. So if I can do that super fast. Just like so, and you have a TIE Fighter. This is its kind of shooting arc right there. Very cool. And there's a whole bunch of those for the Night Beast. We have Academy Pilot, Black Squadron Pilot, Luke Skywalker. What else do we have here? Another Black Squadron Pilot, or Muller Mythil. Who is this? Dark Curse. They all have different pilot skills. They cost different points, and we'll look at those in a second. Obsidian Squadron Pilot, Rookie Pilot. We have Biggs Darklighter, very cool. Also comes with this targeting range, basically how far away your opponent is. If they're within one of these numbers, you can shoot them. You get bonuses and negatives based if they're really far away or really close, but that's that. And you can do red or green if you're dark side or light side. Then we have some asteroid tokens that are for flying around, some obstacles, some stuff that you don't want to run into. Very cool. We have just, millions and millions of little tokens. And these little numbers are for distinguishing which ship is which. if you have 2 TIE fighters, you can have 1 and 2. We have some more scenario stuff, satellite. We have shield tokens. We have lock-on tokens. We have stress tokens. We have damage. We have roll chips and focus chips and dodge chips. Just everything you could possibly imagine. It's all in here, and it's all explained in the rules, but I won't get into that all right now. It's a little complicated. We also have a Senator Shuttle, which is for one of the scenarios. Pretty cool. Has some dodge and some structural. Cool if you want to venture away from just the standard 1-on-1 or 1-on-2. Then you have a deck of damage cards. Each time one of the ships takes a damage, they're just going to put one of these next to them until they take enough damage to be blown up. And there are critical hits. If you roll one of these stars with the circle inside of it, that's a critical hit, and they basically have to flip it over and it does something special. Damage sensory array. We have a minor hull breach, weapons malfunction, stunned pilot, injured pilot. So these count as a damage and also do something terrible. So you don't want to ever take that critical hit. Not good. Finally, we have our upgrades. Proton torpedoes, R2-D2, marksmanship, R2-F2, and these have a cost with them, and then they do something special. And certain ships can have certain upgrades. And those are all explained on the ship and pilot cards. Like as I said on the little nameplates, this has all that information. The first orange number is that pilot skill, and that determines movement and shooting. Basically, the higher the number, the lower in the order you'll move, so you get to move last. And the higher than that number, the sooner you can be able to shoot. So the highest number is going to shoot first. The highest number, move last, shoot first. Very handy. Then they're going to have the attack dice, the defense dice, structural damage, number of shields, and that's like basically extra life that they have to get through first, and some of the critical hits do that, and some of the special upgrades mess with that. It shows their kind of special power, if they have one, what kind of special abilities they can do, lock on or focus, and then what kind of upgrades they can do. It shows you what ship it is and how much that ship costs, and basically both teams going to be even. So we have Biggs Darklighter, we have Rookie Pilot, Mauler Mythal, Dark Curse. We have a TIE Fighter, the Night Beast, Black Squadron Pilot. These are just really cheapy ones. There's some Obsidian Squadron Pilot, same thing, just cheapy little TIE Fighters you can use as a swarm. We have Red Squadron Pilot. Here's Luke Skywalker. He's got that skill of 8. Very cool. 3 attack dice, 2 defense. He's got 2 shields and 3 life. You can have 3 of these different upgrades, but he costs 28 points. As you can see, these little Academy Pilot TIE Fighters only cost 12. So you can have 2 of these plus some upgrades equal the same thing as 1 Luke Skywalker. And that's basically why you get 2 TIE Fighters and only 1 X-Wing in the base set. So you'll set up the game something like this. Now I've shrunk things down a little bit because you usually play on a 3-foot by 3-foot area, but the camera wouldn't pick that up very well. So it's a little shrunk, but you'll get the idea. Basically, you set out your X-Wing and your TIE Fighter, throw out some debris to fly around, put out the movement templates, the shooting template, and the damage tokens, and then grab some dice and get ready to fire at each other. On each player's turn, they're going to take their movement dial and secretly pick a move. Maybe with my X-Wing, I want to take a nice left turn with a distance of 2. I put that face down next to my person, next to my ship. And maybe the TIE Fighters do the same. Maybe they're going to do a left turn 2, and one's going to go on a straight 5. And I put those down. Then you start moving with the lowest number. So these TIE Fighter skills are skill of level 1. So we flip it over. They have that straight 5 or a left turn 2. So I'm going to take that nice easy bank 2. I'm going to put it just like it shows. I'm going to hold my ship down, put that template down, and move it right to the end. Very simple movement in this game, but it leaves a lot of tactics. Right there, I just bumped it. That's why I want to get a nice mat. I do the same thing for my other TIE Fighter, because he's also a skilled one. He took the straight 5. Now that is quite a crazy move. Right at Luke Skywalker. Who does that? Boom. Right there. Very cool. Nice jump forward. And the last one is then my Luke Skywalker with a skill of 8 goes last. And he makes a left turn 2. Same thing. Take that template, move Luke Skywalker to the end of the template. Done. Now we move into the shooting phase. At this point we look and see if anyone's firing arcs are able to hit anyone else. I can take this laser. Let's see here. Nope, this TIE fighter is shooting over here. That's no good. Luke Skywalker is shooting over here for the moment, and this because this TIE fighter tricked him in his way over here. Of course, at this point, no one can shoot anyone. But let's say that somehow, in a few turns, I get my Luke Skywalker spun around, and the TIE fighter's over here, etc., etc. At this point, Luke Skywalker can shoot that TIE fighter. It's within range right there. It's within his arc. And this TIE fighter can shoot Luke Skywalker. Now, for the shooting, it goes in the reverse order. Those with the highest skill get to shoot first. Luke is a very high-skilled pilot, so he gets to shoot first. Luke has 3 on his attack dice. Let's see, 3 red. Very good. And the TIE fighters only have 3 on their defense. But they only have 2 on their attack. So they're very agile, but not very good, I don't know, shooters, I guess. So, in this case, Luke gets to shoot first. He shoots at this TIE fighter. He rolls his 3 dice. Where we have a critical hit and 2 eyeballs. I'll talk about those in a minute. TIE fighter rolls his defense. 1 dodge, 1 eyeball, and 1 blank. This one shot would be dodged by the dodge roll, and no damage would occur. These eyeballs, if you had taken a different action on your turn, maybe you couldn't shoot one of those other turns, you can take a focused action. You get one of those eyeball tokens, focus tokens, and then you can flip over those eyeballs 2 shots. Gives you the extra better chance of hitting someone, like you're really ready for that shot. And the same thing with the defense dice. You can get extra dodges. But I missed. We'll have the TIE fighter shoot at Luke. The TIE fighter has 2 attack. You can see those as 2 damage. Luke has 2 on that agility, that defense, so he'll roll his 2 defense. I got 1 dodge and 1 blank. Luke would take 1 damage. In his case, he's got some of these shield points, so he would lose 1 of his shield. Not good turn for Luke. Now that was a very basic overview of how it works, but hopefully you can kind of give an idea that you're flying these things around, taking these simultaneous actions, which is really cool. And you gotta kind of think, okay, I'm not a very good pilot, I'm gonna be flying out there first, I might run into my opponent, so I have to think about that. And then on the flip side, the really good pilots think, okay, all these people are not gonna be where they are right now, where do I think they're gonna go, can I get in position to shoot them? And then vice versa, the same thing. Man, I have to get multiple guys on Luke because he's going to be able to shoot first, and he could blow up one of my TIE fighters before it even gets a chance to shoot. Very cool. There's the terrain to worry about, there's these movements, there's the rolling of the dice, there's just a ton of stuff going on. You get to customize your ships with upgrades and pilots, you get to make bigger armies if you want to purchase extra pieces. It's really a great way to introduce people to miniatures games, and the movement and the fact that they're already painted are so accessible, it's great. Like, there's enough strategy. I've seen people take huge swarms of TIE fighters and fly them around with amazing precision if you kind of understand the mathematics of these templates. And it just makes sense. I'm going to move 5, I don't have to get out a ruler or a tape measure. I just pick this up, hold it down, and there I go. My guy's in the right spot I need him to be. Very cool. There's even some, each dial is different. So you saw this TIE fighter, that left turn is a green, it's an easy one. Basically, if he was stressed, that would remove one of the stress tokens. That's the easy maneuver for this TIE fighter to make, but it's not for the X-Wing. So each ship in and of itself has different movement abilities, and some movements are more stressful than others. It's not easy for Luke to turn completely around at a speed of 4. And then at that point, he couldn't be able to do another red. He'd have to basically do a green maneuver or take some penalties. So it's really cool that each ship has its pluses and minuses on the stats and the way it can move too. It all really makes a lot of sense and is just a really fun game, especially if you love Star Wars or spaceships or miniatures games. So again, like I said, I went over that kind of fast because I could sit and talk about this game all day. There's tons of stuff with all the abilities and the special abilities that each pilot has and the upgrades and even all the expansions. I mean, if you're into Star Wars, there are from all corners of the galaxy for this game, the expansions. You could have the Millennium Falcon, or Boba Fett's Slave 1, or B-Wings, and A-Wings, and Y-Wings, and all sorts of TIE fighters, and bombers, and just everything, which is super cool. One of my big complaints about it is that if you get into this game, you're going to spend a lot of money. This base set, I think, is about $25 to $30, and that's well worth it for the little 2-player game that you can get. You can have tons of fun with all the scenarios and everything in there. But if you really love this game, you're going to purchase another one of these to get more TIE Fighters and X-Wings. you're going to start purchasing the little individual expansions, and like I said, that Slave 1 and the Millennium Falcon. And they even have some of these huge ships out now, the Rebel Transport and Tantive 4, I think they're called. And they're super fun. They're expensive as heck, but they're amazing set pieces. Like your ships kind of fly around these things, and they're awesome. That's my only one other critique about the game is that the scale. For all of the normal, I guess, expansions, they all make sense. The Millennium Falcon is big, Slave 1 is big, and much larger than the X-Wing and TIE Fighters, as they are in the movies. But these really big ships, they play with a little different scale to make them fit on your table, and because of that, it looks kind of weird. Your X-Wings just look really big compared to that Tantive 4, or especially that Rebel Transport. And I kind of wish maybe they had shrunk these down a little bit. I like the size, but if you wanted to go there in the future, I feel like shrinking them down would have shrunk the play area a little bit, which would help with some tables, and would have made it look really cool with those huge ships. All that being said, I think this is an amazing game. It is super fun to fly these little ships around and shoot at each other, just like you'd see in the movies. It's super strategic because you're trying to figure out a lot of time where my opponent's going to go, what, upgrade should I take? Should I take that barrel roll move right now? Should I focus? Should I lock on to someone? There's tons of things you need to think about all the time. Where are they going to be? Can I get around that asteroid? Am I going to run into someone? And that is super fun. The components are great. Having that big Millennium Falcon or these little X-Wings or whatever it is on the table looks awesome, especially if you get some fabric, like star field fabric, something like that. It just looks super cool, and they're painted well, and it's great. Like I said, the theme is all there. It feels like you are in the Star Wars universe, flying these things around. It feels like you were Luke Skywalker trying to defeat the Empire, flying around, blowing up these TIE fighters. That is all very, very good. There is some luck in the game. You're rolling dice, and sometimes, TIE fighters win because Luke Skywalker didn't roll very well, and that can be disappointing. But it's an individual battle, so it doesn't bother me that much. There is luck a lot of times, especially in the Star Wars universe. You see people missing and hitting when they shouldn't all the time. So that doesn't really bother me that much. The duration, it really scales with the number of pieces, or like the point value that you're going to have. If you have a huge army with 10 TIE fighters and Slave 1 and everything else, it's going to take a while to get rid of all those ships and to maneuver all of those every turn. But just for the little base set, we were playing maybe between 15 and 30 minute games, depending on what scenario it was or how lucky we got, and that is really perfect I think, for this kind of game. It's not so daunting as a lot of the miniature games you might find, where you need to put a ton of time into it, not only learning the game, but painting the game and playing these huge battles. They feel epic, but by the time you get done, all the time it's like, okay, geez, I never want to do that again. This, you want to keep coming back and seeing what happens, trying new setups. It is just a blast. All that together, I would highly recommend it to anyone who is interested into starting miniatures type game. This, compared to something like Warhammer, you can jump right in and play this as soon as you buy it. You don't have to spend nearly as much money. If you spent the same amount on an equal, like one army for something like that, you could get 2 of these sets and a bunch of those extra expansions, which would be great. I would recommend it to anyone who's interested in trying to maybe bumping up from a medium level game to a kind of a higher, heavier game. This is a really great way to do it. There is a lot of complex stuff going on, a lot of stuff you need to kind of know about, but it gives it to you slow enough that you can figure it out. It all seems to make pretty good sense, especially if you're familiar with the Star Wars universe. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, I would definitely pick it up. It's super fun, super, I guess, affordable for what you're getting, and just an overall really fun time. Hey guys, thanks again for watching my review of Star Wars X-Wing miniatures. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and click on the subscribe button to keep up to date with everything I'm doing these days. Why don't you throw me a comment down below what your favorite Star Wars miniatures piece is. If you love one of those new crazy, with the scum and villainy pieces or the huge Tantive 4, let me know. And if you want to watch some hilarious gameplay videos that my brothers just put out, especially of Cube Quest, click right here to jump right to their gameplay with Grumpin videos.